Hello everyone, I'm Rec5,
And I am Sandman 99.
and welcome back to Fallout 4 G9-13 playthrough.
Yes, and although we've had our share of technical difficulties, we are finally back more or less on schedule with our video rotation on the channel, and today is Fallout 4.
Yes.
And this is our 100th Fallout 4 episode.
Wow.
Yes, which we are going to commemorate by mentioning that it is our 100th Fallout 4 episode. So, yeah, this is our longest running series. And in the last episode, we went and visited Brian Virgil because I'm very curious about how, because we did play through the Fens Sheriff's Department and played through the Diamond City Winds ending.
Which is an alternate main quest line.
Yes, and then I started, because I was curious, I went and rescued Nick Valentine, which is something I had not done. And of course then we went and collected all of Nick Valentine's tapes and went and killed Eddie Winter. And finally now we decided, with all of that, to go and investigate whether or not, the... Ow. Okay.
Talking about Nick Valentine and
Yeah, I just
walked into a pack of stinglings.
right into the middle of that, yeah.
Well, that's okay, I can continue. We decided to go and investigate whether or not the main quest line would be intact, because we noticed that, for example, I believe the Brotherhood of Steel blimp didn't arrive, because technically they had already come and gone, right? And you just wanted to see how much further things would go, like, so now we're meeting with Virgil and things like that. We went through the memory den. That was still intact. So how far can you go after completing the Fens Sheriff's Department with the main quest line?
Yeah, it's hard to say. So far, though, things have pretty much played out normally. I don't really recognize any big differences. You know? So, I'm not sure if at some point there will be a difference.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. You might actually just end up doing double main quest line.
Yeah, possibly. It's, yeah. But I guess we'll find out, because we're going to satisfy our curiosity as far as that goes. Uh-oh.
I love that.
Yeah, I like the punt gun. The punt gun is a good gun. I actually looked up all of the mods by D. Magnus just to see if he'd done any upgrades or changes or anything like that. And got a little reminder that in addition to the punt gun and the
Lamont revolver.
He also did the Henry rifle.
Oh, nice.
Which I had been running for a while, like in my last build of this game.
Yep.
And yeah, like, it's a pretty nice mod too. It gives you a lever action rifle that is by far superior to the Far Harbor version.
Yep.
And apparently, like, you can, it's based on another historical equivalent, apparently, because during the Civil War era is when the Henry rifle was invented, and I guess it was one of the earlier lever action guns.
Yep.
And like, the guy D. Magnus, he made a whole bunch of different fittings for it, so you can have like a relatively normal sized rifle, kind of about the same size as the Far Harbor lever action rifle, all the way up to something that's got an extended barrel that is almost as long as this punt gun, right? And like, of course, the longer barrel weapons have much longer range. Now, where did you go now? You're sneaky and pop up right next to me so that I can't shoot you with my punt gun, aren't you?
Well, that's what the chainsaw is for, right? Oh, there's two of them.
Yeah, there's two of them. Okay, well.
Even VAT's, automated VAT's chainsaw use screws up sometimes.
All the time, actually. That's just the way it is. Okay, where'd that other one go now?
I'm pretty sure it's still around and it's still targeting you, but it's like underground trying to pursue you.
Okay, well, whatever. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. It just couldn't path to you for some reason. Really, no enemy is something to fear when you can just stun lock them repeatedly.
Yeah, well, you know what? I can see how regular rippers might be kind of crappy.
Because they don't have good damage output or anything like that.
They don't have good damage output, and if you can't stun lock an enemy, then they can just hit you and interrupt your chainsawing, right?
Yep.
But with this thing, basically what makes it work is the ability to stun lock the enemy so that you can...
Another one.
Yeah, this place is just crawling with rad scorpions, right? They're everywhere.
It's uninterruptible.
Yeah, it's uninterruptible, basically, and that's what makes this weapon so strong, right? Because the damage output is not larger. There's another one there. Maybe I can hunt that one. Yeah.
Yep. And then there's probably another one.
Yeah, still hasn't showed up yet, though. Oh, there he is.
And there he's not.
That takes care of that problem. For some reason, my thing that lights up dead enemies isn't working.
There you go.
Just have to toggle it off and on once in a while just to get it to go again. That's part of the mod called PK something or other. It's basically a jewelry mod. You can make belly piercings and also necklaces of various different types and that kind of thing.
Yep.
And earrings, too. And basically, you know, like you can attach all sorts of specials to these things. And one of the things that I use a lot is called Corpse Highlighter, which, you know, when you kill an enemy, sometimes you can't always find them. And what this does is it just makes the dead enemies glow orange so that they're a little bit easier to see.
Yep.
Oh, jeez, I hate it when that happens. Man, oh man.
I was a little worried when I saw the punt gun come up, but the punt gun actually came up because of the stun animation. I was gonna be like, you aren't going to shoot that thing at point blank.
That thing even interrupted me in VATS, right?
It's because VATS has these awkward pauses when using this type of weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be starting a Fallout New Vegas playthrough here pretty soon. And one thing I like better about Fallout New Vegas is that VATS works better, right? You know, like in this game, VATS quite often even once you start an attack with VATS, you don't get to make all of your attacks before your enemy retaliates, right? And the idea behind VATS, I thought, was to make time slow down so that you could do things faster than your enemy can, right? Like, I thought that was kind of the whole principle behind it. But in this game, it doesn't really work that way, which is why I use bullet time quite a bit. Because, at least with bullet time, you can act and you can move around as well. Like with VATS in this game, you're basically just standing stock still. You know, like, and doing your thing, unless you're doing some kind of melee thing with blitz, right?
Yeah, you're a sitting duck.
Yeah, so basically you're a sitting duck. Wow, that big, huge complex there is part of the South of Sea thing, which we'll get into maybe later. So I don't really like VATS in Fallout 4 very much. I think that they should have kept it the way that it was in Fallout New Vegas, where basically when you make attacks in VATS, you basically make all the attacks that you queue up in VATS, right? First, before anybody else does anything. And that's the way it should be, I think.
Not only that, but VATS in New Vegas, too, is kind of nice in that it's got an extremely long activation range.
Yeah.
And it points you directly at what you were targeting if you exit VATS. And so you can actually use it to kind of cheatily snipe at things from a distance.
Yes. But, you know, in this case here, I wouldn't even bother using VATS because it's a waste of time, right?
Really. Yeah, well, you couldn't stagger this thing repeatedly if you were trying to use VATS. Oh, finally got you.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe if you get rid of the weaker one.
Yeah,
then,
we'll get rid of this buddy, and then I can get rid of him.
Nope.
Poisoner's missile launcher.
I don't think that effect is relevant to that weapon.
Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think that's relevant. That's not a relevant effect. Oh, another one.
Yeah. So anyway, that healing item that I used that recovered my health extremely rapidly is, of course, from the alchemy mod that you and I made.
Yep.
And it basically recovers a massive amount of health very quickly.
Wow, that guy actually hit you pretty hard.
Yep. Lost Convoy. So this is also part of the South of Sea mod.
Oh, you got it restarted right again. I love that. They go to hit you and then you just stagger them.
Yep. I wish that you could start that while you're moving, though. You have to basically be standing still in order to get it to start, right? Otherwise, you do that weird hacking motion instead.
Which isn't terribly effective at all.
No.
Although it does still have a chance to stagger, but it's definitely the non-optimal form of attack.
That's right, folks. The Harvester is one of the best weapons in the game. Now, I think that in this game, I mean, I have to say this is my favorite all-time game. I'm not complaining bitterly or anything like that, but I liked some of the systems they had in Fallout New Vegas better, especially for things like armor and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
It was just simpler, it was easier to understand, it made sense, you know.
You know, armor value in this game is like this complex logarithmic formula where no matter how much armor you actually have, it won't ever totally reduce your damage to anything.
Yeah, well, and another thing too is, for example, I picked up, you know, like I picked up this poisoner's piece of armor, right? Wherever it is now. Poisoner's metal left leg, which gives you plus 25 poison resistance. Well, what exactly does plus 25 poison resistance do for you? Does it do anything? I don't know, because I don't know how that fits in to incoming, and there's a hole in the world there, to incoming poison damage. You know, like, I have no idea whether that's an effective protection against poison or not.
Well, nothing in this game is percentage based, right? Like armor isn't percentage based. Energy resistance isn't percentage based at all. Like,
yeah, even things like Med-X
are not percentage based.
Yeah, I think where am I here? I think I'm at okay, I'm out of the glowing sea. I passed out of the glowing sea and I'm now you know, over here.
And so you might read like 25 poison resistance, but that's jack shit.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, whereas even Med-X is actually a very good comparison, because... Uh-oh, did we just crash? No.
Nope.
Okay, we didn't. But we'll do a quick save here, just in case. Med-X is actually a very good comparison, because in this game, vanilla, Med-X gives you like plus 50 damage resistance or something, right?
Yep.
Which is ridiculously low. I modded it so that it gives you 90, basically what affects, if you follow the logarithmic curve, this tops out at about 95% resistance to incoming damage.
Yeah.
Okay? That 200,000 damage resistance, which is absolutely ridiculously high number, but that basically gives you 95% damage resistance for about 15 seconds, basically.
Well, but the funny thing about it is you tried lower numbers, and the thing is, even like 2,000 damage resistance,
yeah, it didn't do much.
Is only like a 50% reduction in damage against the strongest attacks. And the thing about damage resistance is that it's more effective against weaker attacks and less effective against stronger attacks. So like, yeah, you with 2,000 armor, you might have 95% damage resistance against a pipe gun, but if somebody shoots you with a what the hell are those? A Gauss rifle.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're just gonna take a shitload of damage anyway.
Yeah. Or a super mutant with a assault rifle, or
like
something like that.
Those
right?
things will always do tons of damage, no matter how heavily armored you are, even if you're in fully kitted out Exo 1 power armor, right?
Yeah. So, but anyway, we're kind of digressing there a bit, but basically I think it does, like, it gives you 50 points of damage reduction in this game,
which is completely meaninless.
Which is absolutely meaningless. Yeah. Why would you want to, risk addiction and have to drink a bunch of water and all that kind of stuff? All the things that are the downsides
for 50,
for no benefit whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like maybe like increased effectiveness versus pipe guns, and that's it.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, we'll take care of you.
Gotta love that slowdown legendary.
Yeah. Now, where's that other guy? Where are you? Can't see you.
He's like behind that tree.
Yeah. Okay, well, you know what? We'll just move over here and make him have to come to us. If he wants to fight. But in as I was going to say, though, in Fallout New Vegas, Med-X actually gives you 25% damage resistance, which means that it reduces any and all damage coming in by 25%.
Yeah.
So a powerful attack will do 25% less damage. A weaker attack will also do 25% less damage. So if you get hit by something relatively weak, like, say, somebody shooting you with a varmint rifle or something.
Yep.
Well, then, you know, like, your damage reduction per attack is going to be 2 or 3 points, right?
Yep. But if somebody shoots you with something more powerful, like a battle rifle, well, your damage reduction is still going to be 25%.
Yeah, which might translate out to, I don't know what exactly the damage of a battle rifle is, but it will probably translate out to like 10 or 12 points of damage per attack, right?
Yeah, and then they also have the damage threshold system too, right?
Yeah, which is a point per point reduction in damage.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot more sense. So if you're wearing armor that gives you a damage threshold of 45, like some kind of power armor or something like that.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty heavy-duty, substantial.
Most things won't be able to hurt you.
Yeah, most things won't be able to hurt you.
Because that just gets subtracted from the damage dealt.
Yeah, and I think they still have a minimum incoming damage, right?
Yep.
So, you know, like, you're never going to take no damage from something. I don't know. It's probably kind of like Oblivion, where when
you still take some damage.
When you reach the armor cap, you basically just get a...
Oblivion uses a damage resistance system, so the number that you see in the screen is like a flat percentage, and I believe it's capped at 85%.
Yeah.
And so the only reason you would go for, say, higher than 85% armor in Oblivion is so that you can still be at 85% armor when all of your armor gets damaged or destroyed.
Yeah.
Right? But basically, when you have 85 armor in Oblivion, you get 85% damage reduction. That's how it works.
Yeah. And I think it's a similar kind of system in Fallout New Vegas too.
Yeah, they've got like a kind of, they've got both damage resistance and damage threshold.
Yeah.
So the damage threshold gets subtracted, a flat subtraction from the incoming damage. And the damage resistance is obviously the same kind of thing as in Oblivion. Now, I don't know what order those are applied in. It's fairly easy to look it up. You guys could read about it on the wiki or something. Because, you know, I'm not like a Fallout guru or anything. I'm more the Oblivion guy. But, yeah.
Yeah, and neither of us know a whole bunch about Fallout New Vegas, but both of us, when we started playing, noticed a difference in how the mechanics worked.
Yep.
And so we did a little bit of reading.
Yeah, well, we're both fairly mechanically oriented gamers, right?
And it's nice to be able to understand how things work.
That's right, yeah.
And, you know, like I think that well, even the damage scaling, right? Like if you have a weapon like this Deadeye powerful automatic radium rifle, for example, right?
Yep. And
the base damage on the thing is 108 points per shot. Whereas I don't think even a anti-material rifle does 108 points of damage per shot in Fallout New Vegas.
Yep.
Like, the whole damage scaling thing is completely different too. It's lower, right?
And the hit point values for enemies is completely different too. And I think the thing is they really went off the rails in Skyrim with enemy hit point values, which came out before Fallout 4. Where you'd have enemies that have like 600 hit points or 800 hit points or some ridiculous amount of hit points because enemies don't wear armor, right?
Yeah.
And so in order to compensate for the fact that, like, yeah, okay, maybe in Oblivion it was kind of silly to see bandits walking around in Daedric armor, but the alternative is to give that bandit 800 or 1,000 hit points,
Yeah.
which is exactly what they did. And then you have bandits who are, like, superhumanly strong compared to you. Not only that, but if you ever, guys ever look at, like, say, take a look at, like, Lydia on the wiki or something, and take a look at her stats. Like, her stamina values and her health values are all impossible for you to achieve through the normal level up process. She is just way tougher than you.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I always thought that Skyrim got wrong.
Well, it just seems like a lot of these types of games now have completely overscaled. You know,
Yep.
like they have weapons that do a massive amount of damage, but they also have, you know, like enemies with massive amounts of health.
Well, it gets even more messed up too, because enemies don't get perks in the same way that you do either, right? And so, like, you're not even playing by the same set of rules. If you were to, like, encounter a particular, like, says earlier games had character classes, right? So, like, Oblivion had, like, the default character classes and everything like that, and so did prior games. If you were to encounter, say, a barbarian, well, the AI barbarian plays now in these modern releases, plays by a completely different set of rules than you. He's not something that you could level up into. He doesn't have the same kinds of stats and the same kinds of abilities. He's like a completely different thing, right? A completely different entity from you.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, you might have 200 hit points, but the guy might only deal like 25 points of damage, but then you're sitting there dealing like hundreds of points of damage, and this guy takes like 10 hits to kill, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just this weird thing. Really, I think it would be better if they just went back to having both, like, all actors in a world playing by the same level scaling rules with the same perks and abilities kind of thing, right? That are available to them.
Yeah. Well, that's why I liked Fallout New Vegas, though I liked a lot of the features in it because it made sense. You know, like, enemies had more or less the same, you know, amount of armor as you. They didn't take, even though you might be shooting at them with a plinker like a varmint rifle or something like that, it doesn't take you 1,000,000 hits to kill them.
Yeah. Well, this is another thing too, right? It's like, you know,
like a gun is a gun, right? Like a gun is a dangerous thing, whether it shoots 22s or 308s or whatever, right?
Yeah,
it's still a bad thing to get hit by bullets from a gun.
Yeah.
And
Let's do this. Here we go.
what do we got going on now?
Some kind of
Back here, damn it.
bandit encounter, raiders, frost devils.
Yeah, okay. And I just think that
Made it.
Like, you know, it's like, you know, that bandit has like 1,000 hit points, but then you can hit him with your sword for like 250 points of damage a hit, and he can't hit anywhere near that hard, because if he could, he one-shot you.
yeah. Well, this pistol in my hands does 69 points of damage per hit, and I had to shoot that enemy 8 times.
Yeah.
Right?
And the same health scaling rules apply in Fallout 4 as well. And I mean, mind you guys, yeah, we're aware that there's also a damage scaling thing in survival mode too, right? Where player damage is reduced and enemy damage is increased and that kind of thing. Like, we're aware of that being a factor too, and it's the same in Skyrim and Oblivion and all those other games. But it's just one of those things, right? Like, if you could, because if you smith up a sword in Skyrim, for example, I'm just going to keep using Skyrim because that's the game I know better, and you get it to the point where you can do like 200 points of damage plus with a sword, well, if a bandit were to take that same sword and hit you, he would just kill you. Yeah. Right? But
yeah.
it's not that effective in his hands. It's only that effective in your hands.
Yeah, well, like I was playing in Skyrim this morning, actually, and I had a character who was about level 32 or thereabouts. And I was using a quarterstaff, and I was fighting with a bandit. I don't remember what rank of bandit he was, but at level 32 he would have been
a higher level
like one of the higher level bandits. But and this bandit had a dwarven war axe.
Yep.
And I don't think it had an enchantment on it or anything. It was just a dwarven war axe. And you know, took a power shot at me. So I blocked with my quarterstaff and took 2/3 of my health damage, you know, health bar in damage.
Yep.
Right? Then that was blocking that attack.
Yeah, it's because on the highest difficulty in Skyrim, I think enemies get a flat 4 times damage multiplier or something like that. And so whatever damage he would have done to you, it just gets multiplied 4 times.
Yeah. But anyway, and you know, like that's pretty crazy. And I mean, you know, like I had actually a fairly high armor rating because I was, you know, like pretty close to the armor cap.
Yep.
So I had somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 or 700 points of armor.
Yep.
Right? And it just didn't seem to mean anything.
Yeah, and that's by and large in part because of how the messed up. So not only do they mess up the damage scaling, so like if you were playing on like the regular difficulty, you know, that bandit basically wouldn't be able to hurt you, but then they mess up the damage multiplication, where if you play on a higher difficulty, suddenly that bandit goes from not being able to hurt you to being superhumanly strong, right?
Yeah.
Just because of the raw damage multipliers with the way the arithmetic works out.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can still win those fights, but you know, this is part of the reason why when I play Skyrim, I gravitated towards an orc, because their racial abilities allow them to take half damage and negate the difficulty damage multiplier, and then do double damage.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think that they should have stuck with something like the damage threshold type of idea, right? I just think that that system worked well, and it kept game balance reasonably well.
Yeah, it's not so far of a swing in one way or the other, where if you play on normal, you're indestructible, and you play on legendary, you're like made of paper.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, both of us play on legendary. That's how we play Skyrim, but yeah. And especially, too, it becomes more of a problem, too, because a lot of people who make mods and things like that, they tend to balance things for, and this is true of Fallout 4 as well, but they tend to balance things for the regular difficulty that everybody plays, like the default difficulty.
Yeah.
So a mod that makes the game harder will make the game about as hard as, say, you know, master difficulty for a particular encounter on normal difficulty. But then you go to legendary difficulty, and that encounter scales up to like 2 or 3 times beyond legendary difficulty, and it's just like, well, that is completely broken and unplayable. Right? It's a common problem, and I mean it happens in survival difficulty on Fallout as well, and I don't know. It's just, and even a lot of the bugs that you see in mods is because people don't tend to test their mods on the highest difficulty.
Yeah. But anyway, I guess
I remember one time, this was years ago, I was watching you play Skyrim one day, and there was this no-name bandit with a wooden club.
yeah,
You remember that?
I got one-shotted by a no-name bandit with a wooden club.
At
yeah.
like level 120.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've been playing that character for a long time, and yeah, all of a sudden this no-name bandit with a wooden club just walks up and whacks me with his wooden club, and that's it. Game over.
Yeah, and then didn't you reload that save and one-shot that bandit after that?
Yeah, because I basically, I don't know how he managed to hit me. I think I didn't see him coming or something right away.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he, you know, got an unblocked hit on me. But
Like, you had 1,000 hit points and everything else, and max armor class, and
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, there are all kinds of weird arithmetic scaling bugs, I think, that result as of all of this complex math that they try to do to make damage scaling make sense in these games. Right? And I think really if they just went back to like the systems that they had previously established for incoming and outgoing damage, where everybody played by the same rules, it would be a lot easier to balance and avoid these problems.
Wow, I've got 4 unemployed settlers here and no jobs available. Okay.
Well, what does the settlement need?
Well, this settlement is a little light on defense now. We've got enough food and all that kind of good stuff, so put in a few more guard posts here. Because we can always use more guards.
So what's your job? Well, I stand at the edge of this building really high up.
Yeah, and then when something attacks the settlement, I run down all of these stairs until I get to ground level so that I can get right in that enemy's face and shoot him with my pipe gun.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Because, you know what? It would make more sense if they would stand up here and fire down at enemies, but they don't do that. Right? Settlers are berserkers and they're crazy. But I've got 2 over here already. So this is an expanded Hangman's Alley mod. Like mod expanded build of Hangman's Alley. That allows me to build higher so I can build up on the roofs of these buildings. And it also expands the build area out to the river on that side too. Which kind of makes more sense. Right? Okay, well. We can always put a guard up here. Why not? Put a guard up here. Just for good measure, we'll put an extra guard post up here. We'll put one there too. Right? Sure, why not? Am I missing a roof section in this building?
I think you intentionally didn't put one in.
Oh, right, because I was thinking about future expansion. You know what? I think that I could probably put a roof section on there because I think that there is enough beds in this settlement now. There. There is enough beds in this settlement, I think. I can't really see getting more than 40 settlers.
Yep.
You know, like in all the years that I've played this game, I think that around 33, maybe 34 is about as many as I've ever seen.
Yep.
That's with a very high charisma score, right? Because I think there's some kind of formula that is tied to your charisma as to how many settlers will settle in a settlement.
Yeah, that's correct.
So if you got 10 charisma, well then you'll get the maximum number of settlers, and I don't know what that is. And then of course it's possible with various buffs and things like that to have more than 10 charisma.
Yep.
And I think that you can increase the number of settlers you can have at a settlement by doing that kind of stuff. Okay, everybody here has a job again now. Even though most of them just stand around on the stairs. And I guess we'll do a little bit of cooking since it looks like we've got a whole bunch of...
Wait, you mean to tell me that people with jobs don't just stand around on the stairs?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe they do. But only when the boss isn't looking. Oh, look at that, eh? Rad scorpion steak omelet or egg omelets. I guess I killed a few rad scorpions because I have a lot of rad scorpion meat.
Just a few.
Enough here that I'm probably gonna... Yeah, I leveled up from all of the cooking I did.
Wow.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Yeah, you had plans for this level up, didn't you?
You know what? It's been a while since we played, though. I'm not sure I remember.
Something about mines? Auto mines?
Oh, no, I did that already.
Oh, maybe it was heavy gunner, with the punt gun.
Yeah. Heavy gunner, we could go that way, right? We could do... Ooh, well, I don't know. We're already in pretty good shape as far as damage reduction to attacks and things go. Okay, sure. We'll go with another rank of heavy gunner.
All the heavy gunner all the time.
Yeah.
So you just need to have 2 punt guns on you. One for close range and one for long range.
Yeah, you know what? That would weigh just a little bit too much. Actually, the modder D Magnus did do an update, or somebody else did an update to this mod, a patch or something, where they added some legendary punt guns placed in the world.
Ah.
Yeah. Although these things are in the leveled list, they're extremely rare.
Wanted you to know that
But you can find legendary punt guns sometimes, right?
And you wouldn't want to be shot by whoever you find it on.
No. It's best avoided. Anyway, we're going to go across the river here to CIT and turn on our radio and follow the signal. Just like Brian Virgil told us we should. Now that we have done all that good stuff, and we're carrying lots and lots of food now because I didn't put that stuff away in the workbench afterwards. So I guess we should have enough to eat for a while, hey? With like 20 rad scorpion steaks.
Yo, it's gonna be the new iguana on a stick. Which you're still carrying around.
Yep, that's right. What can I say? I'm a pack rat. Okay, we got to tune to the radio frequency of the Courser guy. Courser signal. Oh, it's getting stronger. And of course I'm going to just pretend that I don't know exactly where I have to go here. Because I've already done this a few times, so...
Oh, wow, I can't believe that raider survived that.
Yeah.
I think it was because it wasn't a direct hit.
Yeah, it wasn't a direct hit.
Now that raider doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it's in this big green building here. Right. Yep. That's what I thought. Okay. That's about enough of that. So maybe we'll have a smoke before we go in.
Just to make a hard save.
Just to make a hard save. Because we may... I'm not sure what we're going to run into continuing to follow this course of action, but it's always good to have a fallback point just in case things don't go the way you expect, right? Oh, now I gotta have a drink of water.
Damn, all that smoking made me thirsty.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
no.
they say coffee and cigarettes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I know back when I used to smoke, I used to always enjoy having a cigarette with my coffee, especially first thing in the morning. It was basically the first thing I did when I got up in the morning, is I'd make myself a cup of coffee and have a smoke before I packed my lunch and got ready to go to work and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was the hardest one to give up when I quit, too. Because actually, when I quit smoking, I had about a half a pack of cigarettes left. And, you know what? I would, because that first one was the hardest one to give up, I would smoke one cigarette with my cup of coffee first thing in the morning when I got up. And then on my way out the door when I was leaving for work, I would put the pack of cigarettes on the shelf next to the front door.
Yeah.
And leave them there. And then I would go to work. And it was pretty funny because after I had finally finished, you know, like stopping smoking and all that kind of stuff, and I'd been quit for about better part of a year, I was at a company dinner, and, you know, like there was my boss and his bosses and a bunch of co-workers and all that kind of stuff sitting at a big table. And some of them were getting up to go outside and smoke because this was, you know, about a little over 20 years ago, I guess. And at about that time was when they started making people go outside to smoke instead of having smoking sections in restaurants.
Yep.
And, you know, like one of the guys I worked with, he says, so I understand you quit, eh? And I said, yeah, it wasn't the most difficult thing I ever did. You know, it wasn't real easy, but it wasn't the hardest thing I've ever done. And my boss pipes up and says, yeah, and he was only a prick for a year.
Oh, God.
Because I guess I was a little bit irritable when I was, you know, working on stopping smoking. And looking back on that, I guess I probably deserved that.
Oh, well.
Because at times I you know, like I'm old and mellowed out and stuff now, but when I was younger, at times I could be a difficult person to get along with. But, you know, that's back in the old, you know, like sand and gravel days too. And back then, people could talk like that about each other at work too, right?
Yeah.
You know, like you wouldn't get into a whole bunch of trouble for saying something like that.
Well, people had thicker skins and the relationships were a lot more casual, right? Because you're all just there to do the job, right? You're not there to do malice in and on each other.
Yeah, and you know what? My boss wasn't a bad guy either, right? You know, like I got along reasonably well with him most of the time.
Yeah.
Although, like I said, at times I could be difficult and I didn't quite, you know, when I was young, I didn't quite understand the concept of the fact that it doesn't matter if you think you're right. If the boss wants you to do something a certain way, you just do it. You know?
Yeah. Man, reloading that thing invisible just looks so weird.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, that looks like it doesn't really have anything to do with me.
Still, though, it wouldn't be friendly to get shot by a rocket launcher.
No. There is still, I just heard a beep. There is still a turret here somewhere. Oh, right there. Oh, geez, where'd that guy come from?
I think he actually fell off the top and came down.
Did he? Where are you little dickhead? There. Okay. Is there more resistance yet?
I don't see any.
Uh-oh.
Turret, maybe.
Oh, yeah, up there. Of course, I can't use that elevator.
Looks like there's another turret up there.
Or around here somewhere, yeah. It might be on a different floor or something too, right? Approved focused agitated laser pistol. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not sorry that I quit smoking, you know, like 25-ish years later.
Well, it's gotten very expensive now.
Yeah, well, and the funny thing is, my wife still smokes. And, you know, like it was back at the time when I quit smoking, cigarettes were around $5 a package. And I figured, where is that? I figured, wow, look at all the money we'll save from me quitting smoking too, right? And then about 3 months after I quit, they doubled in price, right?
Yeah, because of all the government taxes on them and everything.
How many are we
Yeah.
dealing with?
Well, that's because, you know, instead of taking the approach of trying to be everybody's mummy and daddy, when it comes to that issue, the government figured maybe they'd try and discourage people from smoking by making it ridiculously expensive, right?
Yeah.
But then again, then they had all kinds of problems. I don't know whether that, like, I don't really keep tabs on that kind of thing anymore. But they had all kinds of problems with people smuggling cigarettes across the border from the United States and stuff like that too, right?
I think it's still a problem. You know, if they're not smuggling cigarettes from in from the United States, they're getting from the reserves or other places.
Yeah. And I know I can remember around 2000 or 1999 or something like that, I went to the United States and on a business trip kind of.
Yep.
And when I was on my way home, I stopped at the duty-free store and I bought a carton of Canadian cigarettes, like a carton with 8 packages in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Of Canadian cigarettes, and I paid like $8. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, and this was after the exchange. They were I forget now what, or maybe that they were $8 US, which
Yeah.
is about $12 Canadian or something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
At the time, and so I got 8 packages of cigarettes, basically for the price of 2,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So even back then, cigarettes were 4 times more expensive here than they were in the United States, and it's all mostly tax, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I never really thought that kind of thing was right myself. I mean, I get that people don't like smoking and that kind of thing, and you know, like, but like, I don't think that people should be taxed to death or ostracized for that kind of thing either. You know, I think it's more of a personal choice thing. If you want to smoke, smoke. If you don't want to smoke, don't smoke. If you want to have smoking in your establishment or your restaurant, have smoking in your establishment or restaurant. If you don't, don't.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go to a smoking establishment, don't go there. That's basically the way I've always seen it. And for a while, we had establishments that kept operating as smoking establishments even after they made that illegal, and people were finding that they were making more money paying the government fines than they were turning away smoking customers. But I think eventually at some point in last 10 or 12 years, that eventually went away.
I think they made it costly enough that, you know, like, they just kept jacking the fines up, right?
Yeah.
Until it was no longer financially feasible. But yeah, you're right. It is an infringement on freedom, I guess. Freedom of choice.
Yep.
And yes, smoking is bad for you, and we've known that for a long time. But
drinking is too.
What business do I have deciding if, for example, you should have the right to smoke or not?
Yeah,
like that's none of my business, right? You're a big kid, and you know, like it's not my right to decide.
Well, and if somebody wanted to start a private establishment catering to smokers, I mean, that should be their right? It's their property.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm talking about for freedom too, right? And if someone really doesn't want to go and patronize a place where smoking is allowed, then
they're free to do so.
Then fine, don't go there. Go somewhere else, right? You know, let the
smokers smoke, and
well, let financial factors, I guess, decide, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if a business is losing business, or if they feel that they're not making money because people are not going to their restaurant or whatever because they allow smoking, well, then maybe they'll change their policy to not allow smoking anymore. Yeah. Right? But that should be up to whoever owns the business. It shouldn't be the business of the government to decide that for them.
I agree. And just for the record, I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I've never been a smoker. I just have a problem with the way that the whole smoking situation's been handled.
Well, and I myself am an ex-smoker, and you know, like I said, more than 20 years ago I quit. But I didn't quit because I have anything against it or whatever. I quit for health reasons, basically.
Yeah.
Because it was starting to affect my health. And so pretty much that was my choice. But that being said, being around people that smoke doesn't really bother me.
Yeah.
You know, like imagine if I was in a room completely full of cigarette smoke or whatever, well, I would probably, it might bother me a bit, you know, like make my eyes itchy and that kind of stuff.
Well, especially because you're not used to it anymore. But
my wife smokes. I sit and watch TV with her right next to her on the couch while she's smoking. It doesn't bother me that much. It doesn't seem to have, you know, like they talk about secondhand smoke and all this kind of nonsense. It doesn't seem to have affected me at all.
Yep.
You know, like I think that particular thing might be a myth.
Well, people are pretty hysterical about that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, even if it does cause some kind of negative effect, because, you know, like smoke in general causes negative effects. I mean, what do you think standing beside a car exhaust will do to you? What do you think walking under an underpass will do to you?
Or a campfire.
Yeah, or a campfire.
Or a barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
burning things in general is mildly carcinogenic, and smoke from burning things in general is mildly carcinogenic.
Yeah, well, the only thing that I can see that, you know, secondhand smoke could be really very hazardous, I think it would require more than one person in a room, right? It would require several people in a room, and you'd probably have to be exposed to that level of smoke on a daily basis for several hours a day, right?
Well, and then if everybody in that room is smoking anyways, they probably don't care about the secondhand smoke thing.
No, but I mean for people who are not smoking, right?
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
You know, people who don't smoke. But I honestly can't think of too many people who would be in that kind of circumstance. You know?
Yeah, maybe if you owned a bar or something.
Yeah.
But again, that's your choice. If you want to allow
But then
smoking
again,
in your
though,
bar.
when I was young too, I used to go to bars and things like that. And you know what? With the ventilation systems they had and all that kind of stuff, I didn't really notice that it was particularly smoky or anything in the bar or restaurant or whatever.
Yeah, well, back when smoking was in the culture, people actually equipped their buildings to deal with it.
Yeah. So,
And hey, you know what? I used to go sit in the smoking section of restaurants all the time anyways, because there were seats there.
yeah, actually, you know what? It was pretty funny, but once they established the smoking and non-smoking sections in restaurants...
You could always get service by going into the smoking
more often
section.
than not, even if you didn't smoke, well, you go to Smitty's and you got to stand in line for half an hour to get a table, or you can go and sit in the smoking section and get a table right away, right?
Yeah, so this is the best thing ever. Just go to the smoking section. I love that.
Yeah, and you know what? To tell you the truth, it wasn't noticeably smokier in the smoking section than it was anywhere else in the building, right?
Yeah. It's not like there was a cloud or a haze of smoke or anything.
No.
We've lost contact with sectors 2 and 4.
In fact, the only thing that I started noticing is like some places would start to glass in smoking areas, and if their ventilation wasn't working right, then you could sometimes notice, because then you had a whole bunch of people smoking in a sealed, enclosed area, right?
But a lot of those places, too, got higher than normal ceilings anyways.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think that the whole thing, there's a lot of hysteria, a lot of politics.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
And some people just feel they don't have a purpose in life unless they're dictating how other people should live.
Yep.
You know?
Pretty much.
And it's not because I'm pro-smoking, because actually they say that some of the most virulent anti-smoking people are people who used to smoke. But I don't understand that point of view either.
Sweet.
You know, like, it doesn't offend me if someone else smokes. I don't really care.
Yep.
I got into trouble once, actually, for that, because it got to the point where, even though the gravel pit where I was working at was like several miles out of town, there was a sort of an administration building with a set of steps.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, quite often, a bunch of people would sit on those steps and have a smoke and visit and that kind of thing before they went home. And I would sometimes sit with them to talk with them. And one of the guys there asked me, you know, like, do you care if people smoke on these steps? And I said, no, I don't really care, right? And at the time, I guess I was a supervisor there, right?
Yep.
And then my boss came, he heard about that later, and he came and he gave me shit because I basically told people that it was okay to do something that's against the law.
God.
And it's like, well, we're 20 miles out of town. I don't think anybody's really gonna know, right?
I know, it just kind of goes to show, too, how ridiculous the law is.
Yeah. Well, and how ridiculous some people are about, you know, like trying to enforce this will upon others, right? You don't even really have to aim with this thing. You just point and shoot.
Yeah, as long as you're free of obstacles, right? So you
Yeah.
can't hit yourself.
Yeah. Anyway, we've been doing an awful lot of chatting about some things that might be political sore points for some people. So, anyway, if anything that we have said in this episode offends you, just remember, someone once told me that if I'm not offending someone, I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah, that was actually in the comment section.
Yeah.
On one of these videos.
No, actually, it was on a mod that I posted, because, like, I posted, it was the mod that I made for, the June tag washer and dryer.
Oh, yeah.
And I showed a picture of Chef Perry just standing there in his boxers, right?
Yep.
Because it was laundry day, and I had him standing there in his boxers next to the washer and dryer. And I included in the mod description, hopefully no one is offended by Chef Perry standing there in his underwear. And one of the people commented and said, if you're not offending someone, you're doing it wrong. I guess if I used VATS, that might be a somewhat valuable thing, maybe. But anyway, it's all in good fun. I just, you know, I'm not trying to stand on a soapbox or be overly political or anything like that. I just sometimes voice my thoughts out loud when I observe something that I think is strange, or contradictory, or doesn't make sense to me, right? Okay, well, do this just for the XP, but I have a feeling I've probably already destroyed the turrets in question. Oh, some more.
Oh, I see there's
More gunfighting going on up there, right? You can see the laser flashes and everything else.
Fall back to original positions. The courser's nearing the elevator.
Got a caution going on here somewhere, but don't know where from.
Yeah, well, I think something has detected you, or someone.
Yeah.
Maybe around the corner here? Somebody's hyper alert?
This gunner had a bayoneted triple-barreled missile launcher.
Eh?
Why would you need a bayonet on a missile launcher? Like, really?
Yeah, if you need a bayonet on a missile launcher, you're doing it wrong. Either that, or you just wanted to add a little bit of flavor to your melee combat life.
Yeah, you just wanted to make this ridiculously heavy weapon a little bit heavier. Okay, anybody home? Yep, there you are. Oh, you went by too quick.
Well, that was a direct hit.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got the gore turned off in an INI file. But yeah, I suspect that if I had it turned on, that probably would have been just body parts.
Yeah, there'd just be chunks of people everywhere.
Yeah.
At all times.
And I didn't turn off... Well, you know what? I know we've taken some flack over the last... You know, over the many episodes that we've done occasionally here, because some people don't like our revealing outfits and that kind of thing. But it's never made any sense to me that it's okay to blow people up and have pieces of their bloody corpses laying all over the floor and that kind of thing, and people gleefully enjoy that. While we're talking about this and provoking reactions, we might as well get into that too. I've never really understood how that is okay, but a girl in a skin-tight bodysuit or a bikini or something is not.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Like, what kind of weird contradiction is that? What kind of society are we living in where it's acceptable to show violent, gory death, but it's not acceptable to you know, like show something that might be aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Right?
And don't get me wrong, we're not condemning violent, gory death. I mean,
I mean, you know what?
you just want both.
I'm a long-term player of Fallout 4 and violent, gory death, and actually the reason that I turned the gore off
Was not because of the gory death.
No, it was because of the lingering blood stains that kept staying on my character that I couldn't get rid of.
Yeah, and so you had to keep unequipping and re-equipping shit all the time. It was real inconvenient.
And that was a nuisance, so I figured, well, you know what? I'm just going to turn that off. I don't really miss it. It doesn't really affect the quality of play for me. You know, like, I walk up and those guys that I shot are still dead, even if they're, you know, not reduced to bloody pieces, right?
But I don't know, I mean, the whole idealized figure thing, right? Like, that's always been a thing in practically every myth, legend, story, game, movie, TV show.
Well,
like, they don't choose ugly people for actors.
That's right.
Right? And they don't choose ugly people for actors for a reason, right? They wouldn't choose you or me to be an actor.
That's right. I'm not pretty enough to be an actor. And, you know what? I'm okay with that. You know, we can't all be gifted with genetics to look like, you know, whoever the latest, you know, popular actor is, or I guess if you were a female type person, the popular actress. And that's okay to be an average looking person, right?
Yeah.
You're just like 99% of the other people.
But even when we, like, commemorate people, like, if you were to take a look at, like, ancient Roman and Greek statues of people, like, they're highly idealized.
Yeah, that's been going on for a very long time, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, you see, yeah, I know, I can remember from the school days, seeing ancient Greek sculptures and stuff, and the guy's got the perfectly developed, symmetrical, muscular body.
Yep.
And you know, that kind of stuff, right? Like, that kind of idealization has been going on for thousands of years, right?
That's it.
It's just that now there's some snowflakey type people out there who that kind of thing bothers them enough that they feel like the rest of us can't enjoy it.
Yep.
You know? And just because it's not, you know, like, it's not realistic to expect that everyone is going to look like, you know, like Angelina Jolie or somebody like that in her prime. Well,
which, fine, like, you know it's not, but
it's not realistic to expect everybody to look like that. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't enjoy watching the Tomb Raider movies. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with that, and it wouldn't have made sense to me to cast a different person for those movies.
Well, the whole idea of fantasy heroes is that they're larger than life.
I mean, even the more recent Tomb Raider movie with, I forget the actress's name now, but very, very fit lady, you know, like washboard abs and you know, nice looking pretty girl too, right?
Yep.
But very, very fit. Like, she actually looks like the
she could do some of the things.
ideal of a female type hero that would be in a scenario like this, right?
Yep.
Alicia Vikander, that's what her name is, right? But you know, like, I see nothing wrong with presenting female heroes like that. And not every movie needs to be like that, or TV show or whatever. I mean, you know what? If people want to cast ordinary or regular or average looking people in their productions, that's fine too. Go ahead and do that. Yeah, freedom of choice, right? Right?
But, like, it kind of goes back to the other side of the coin too, right? Like, not every male hero is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that that's another weird contradiction about the video game thing.
You could have half-naked, steroided out buff guy on screen, and that's fine.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? I was going to say is that in Skyrim, you know, vanilla Skyrim, right?
Yeah, like, people are wider than Arnie.
I mean, you know what? you look at the female model, and it's okay. It's nothing great. That's why there were a lot of body replacers and that kind of thing done for Skyrim.
Yeah.
Because there's a wide variety of different body types instead of the more or less androgynous, not terribly curvy-looking body that was the default. But oddly enough, the guys all look like gym rats.
Yeah, they're all like, they got the veins popping out. They're like on steroids.
And you know what? Really, you have a choice when you're building a male character of a skinny-looking gym rat or a big, bulky gym rat.
Yeah, oh
right?
man, you can make them
like
so fucking big. Like, you can make them Arnie big. Like, Arnie in his peak years big.
Yeah.
Like,
and that, to me, is a contradiction.
Lou Ferrigno big.
Because, you know, like, if you have idealized male shapes in your game like that...
Why can't you have idealized female shapes?
Why can't you have idealized female shapes in your game like that, too? Right? I mean, you know, like I said, it seems like it's a contradiction.
Yeah.
And some of these people who object to this kind of thing seem to want to have it both ways, right? Or they ignore the fact that the male figures are greatly idealized too. They don't look like me, for example, where, you know, like I'm kind of thick and stocky and my stomach sticks out a little bit, and you know what I mean? Like I certainly don't look like the default guy from Skyrim, from Skyrim, right?
Although you have been lifting weights for like 30 years or more.
Yeah, well, actually more like about little over 40 years. But yeah, I mean,
regular people don't look like that.
I'm heavily built and I'm very strong and I'm very fit, you know, for someone my age. But I don't look like that.
Yeah.
Right? I basically just look like a regular guy with, you know, like thick shoulders and a big body and
baseball glove hands
and big thick legs, right? You know what I mean? But other than that, I basically just look like a regular guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's only the bodybuilders who spend hours and hours and hours, you know, sculpting every individual small muscle group that look like the competition bodybuilder guys do, right?
Yeah.
And they also follow special diets with almost zero fat and that kind of thing.
And use special sauce.
Well, yeah, I mean, they'll want to tell you they don't, but they do, yeah. But, you know what I mean? Like, even the ones that don't use the performance-enhancing drugs, they like, I knew a guy who was like that, right?
Yeah.
And he would not eat anything that had any kind of fats or sugars in them.
At all whatsoever.
You know, like they actually modified their diets in order to, you know, limit their fat intake and keep their body fat down around like 10 or 12% or something.
Yep.
And I think the average human being has a body fat percentage of somewhere around 20% or slightly more. And that's kind of required in order to be able to maintain good health, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of these
organ function depends on it.
And a lot of these bodybuilders who you know, keep their body fat really low like that are missing things in their diets that cause them long-term health problems, you know, when they get older, right?
Yeah.
Because they're, you know, like you say, their organs are being starved for the nutrients that they need in order to function properly and all that kind of stuff. Plus, the steroid use probably isn't good for you on a, you know, long-term basis either.
Well, and I mean, they also take like vitamins and supplements,
you know what?
and all kinds of things.
I eat like a regular guy. I eat meat and potatoes and vegetables and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, I also worked physically hard for a lot of my adult life, too. In addition to the exercise thing.
Now, are you going to cooperate?
Oh God! Oh God! Okay.
Well, maybe we'll be quiet now for a while so that we can hear these gunner guys begging for their lives.
Tell me the password.
Look, I already.
That's it.
I told you I don't have it. I'll help you find a way in. But listen, we took the girl Farrah.
Yes.
All we want is a little compensation in return.
You are in no position to negotiate.
Okay. It's just... let me think.
Time's running out.
No, please! Wait, you can have the girl. Just let me go.
Well, the fact that synth is still trying to recover a runaway synth does not bode well.
I'm through.
Well, it's okay. You'll probably shoot him with your punt gun. And then that'll be problem solved.
No, I was thinking that for the continuity thing, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I suspect that you might actually end up doing a double main quest completion here.
Yeah, it's starting to look more and more like that the further along that we go. Oh, okay, I guess I went the wrong way. I needed to go up those stairs instead. What's in here? Nothing much. Okay, here we go.
You, come here.
Hi.
Are you here for the synth?
What's it?
If you're not here for the synth, then you're here for me. What do you want?
And just who is this synth, anyway?
A fugitive. Runaway institution. I'm shutting her down and bringing her back. You, on the other hand, will die like the rest.
Well, I guess he's not feeling chatty, hey?
I guess not. And now he's not feeling anything.
Well, we got a courser chip. Looks like we got some dead gunners. Wonder if I accidentally killed some of these guys.
Yeah, who knows? Doesn't really matter.
He deserved to die. I know you're not here for me, but I can't get out. Not on my own. I'm going to have to trust you to help me.
Okay. Oh,
Who are you?
We'll talk once you open the door. I promise I won't run. The guard put the password in a toolbox. Over there, under the stairs. Use it to gain access to the terminal. And open the door.
okay. I actually don't really need the password. I could just hack this terminal.
Yeah.
Got it.
Oh, I could turn the elevator on.
Well, that'll make it easier to get out of here once you're done.
Okay. Well, let's go in and talk to this
Thank you. I
gal
don't know
here.
what to say.
You don't have to say anything. You're welcome.
My institute designation is K198, but I prefer Jenny, so yes, I'm a synth, if you haven't already guessed. I knew they'd send a courser. I just didn't think he'd find me so fast. I think I would have lost him too, but then I was captured by these mercenaries. And all this happened. Thanks again for your help. I'm gonna look for supplies before heading out. And before you ask, no, I don't need any more help. The Commonwealth is unforgiving. I need to make it on my own or I'm dead. Maybe we'll meet again, under better circumstances. I hope we do.
Here, why don't you take this punt gun?
And actually, you know what? That's a thread that was just left hanging loose, right? Never ever did meet up with K1-98 again. And there's the password if I wanted it.
Well, I guess you're left to assume that K1-98 died.
Well, or lived. Who knows? Right? So I could pick up that fat man if I really wanted it. And I guess I could go out onto the roof if I really wanted to, but I don't really want to. I think I'll be happy to just head on into the elevator and get out of this place now and go on to the next thing. But I guess we'll probably have to leave this episode for now.
Yeah, we are closing in on an hour and a half now, aren't we?
It ran rather long. Anyway, I guess until next time.
I'm Brackby5.
And I am Sandman 99.
Have a good one.